it's Jessii Vee, and yes, I'm still wearing my Star Wars shirt with my thermal detonator necklace. I was filming 2 videos in one day and I was just too lazy to change. You know when you feel that way? Alright, so as you can tell by the title of today's video, we are continuing our series, this time talking about ancient Rome, all the things that were strange and creepy that they did back then. This is probably going to be my last video in this series, unless you guys really want to see more, because there are like a lot I could do, like maybe the Stone Age, prehistoric times, I don't know. Anyway, if you want me to continue this, give this video a thumbs up and let me know. Otherwise, I will end it at this one because this one is still super interesting. And also, before I get started, don't forget, if you would like a Valentine's Day mystery box, this is probably the last video I'm going to be mentioning it because Valentine's Day is right around the corner. So if you would like one, they are like dwindling. There's a very small amount left, but if you would like one, I have linked it down below, and there's still a bunch of just really cute Valentine's Day stuff on our website, plushies, necklaces. Go check it out if you have not. And yeah, let's get right into today's video. Okay, the first weird thing is the life-threatening toilets. Yes, you heard that correctly. Toilets consisted of dimly lit and poorly constructed holes that were directly connected to sewer channels. And since the pathways were unobstructed, dangerous creatures would often emerge from the holes. Flames from methane buildup were also relatively common. Like, imagine sitting down on this toilet and either getting your butt burned off by the flames that randomly come out, or like a snake just pops out at you. Ugh. So before going to the bathroom, the Romans would typically rely on like superstition to protect themselves. So magic spells were literally sprawled all over the wall of the bathrooms. This was to like ward off demons and ill luck, so they thought. They also believed that laughing would expel all of these bad things from happening to them. So they literally had this like humorous graffiti and paintings all over the walls of the bathrooms. So when they sat down to do their business, they would see it and laugh, and the laughing would like scare away the demons. They would also sometimes pray to Fortuna, who was the goddess of luck. And like you probably heard me talking about in other videos, like about ancient Greece, they would use a stick with a sponge at the very end of it to clean themselves, like instead of toilet paper, because they didn't have toilet paper back then. And what's so gross is that they would often have to share this sponge without cleaning it, like they would just pass it around. So like if one user, for example, had intestinal worms, everybody else in that room who used it would also get intestinal worms. It's so gross. And before I continue, these videos are very TMI, okay? So if you're like grossed out easily, I would not continue watching, but they are fascinating facts, but yes, they are a little bit gross. Next, we have a fact about reusing bath water. Ancient Roman bathhouses were masterpieces of art in which the customer could wander about, sampling each cold, hot, tepid, or steam bath. They were extremely ornate, consisting of giant colonnades, beautiful mosaics, and pools with varying water temperatures. Bathing in these places, it was like a vital part of Roman life. Like, it was custom to go and visit these bathhouses daily. And they would do this obviously to get clean, but it was also like important for socialization. So like a bunch of naked people would just be like in these like pools, like just chatting. Like, it was really casual. In these public bathhouses, people usually clean themselves with olive oil, which they scraped off to get rid of dirt and dead skin. And then the same oil that they just used would be collected and like passed around to the next person. It wasn't very cleanly. The next fact is that they would use pee as toothpaste. Many of the ancient Romans would collect their urine in jars and store it away. They waited until it was sterile and had dissolved into ammonia before they used it to clean their teeth and wash their clothes. Now, despite their questionable hygiene practices, the Romans greatly valued like pearly white clean teeth. Like, they believed it would be wasteful to get rid of ammonia, which is why they like saved the pee and waited until it turned into just ammonia and then they would use it. They would also put animal dung on their wounds to heal the cuts and stuff. So I just feel like that's like a bacterial infection waiting to happen, but they did it. That's what they did. Next, we have the Vomitorium. The Vomitorium is now known as the room where the wealthiest of the ancient Romans would go to purge themselves of food and free space in their stomach so they could continue to gorge themselves during feasts. They would literally eat and eat and eat like crazy until they were so full that they had to get rid of the food so they could eat more. I mean, it just doesn't make sense to me. Like, just eat until you're full and let that digest. Let it go through you, you know what I mean? Why do they need to like expel it and eat more feasts? I mean, it sounds miserable. And if like one of them didn't want to go to this shared room with a bunch of people, they would go back to their own room in private, and then he would lie down and he would have a servant come up to him and put a feather down his throat to make him, you know? So yeah, it was all about making room for more food. Wasn't very logical. Then we have some questionable medical practices. One of their bizarre treatments included the application of a mixture of crocodile meat and cypress oil for getting rid of acne. And like, if you had a very severe case of acne, they would recommend you take a bath in a mixture of sour cheese and oil. Could you imagine how you would smell after that? For treating warts, they would burn cow dung, mouse dung, and swan fat, and then that was like rubbed on the wart. Some of the cures for headaches included sprinkling wine in which a chameleon had been soaked over the head of a patient. Another one was to touch an elephant's trunk to the patient's head to make them feel better. Another one was drinking water left behind by an ox. And some people would even fasten a fox's genitals around their forehead. I'm sorry, but I had to include this. I just couldn't believe it. For constipation, placing a wolf's bile on the navel was recommended to loosen the bowels. And then there was like a few weird things for people who were suffering with epilepsy. Drinking water taken from a spring at night and then placed on a dead man's skull. Okay. They would like put a nail in the ground where a person had a seizure, and like the superstition told them they would never have one again if they did that. If you went up and smelled the afterbirth of a donkey, it would cure your epilepsy. Or if you ate a pickled camel's brain. The next fact is about drinking poison. The Roman rulers poisoned themselves daily. They did so to acquire immunity against poison in case they were poisoned by a foe or from deceit. So yeah, they would just try to get immune to these poisons, but in the process they would either die or get themselves very, very sick, obviously. And then lastly, some Roman graves had pipes sticking out of them. Roman graves had pipes through which wine, honey, and other food material could be lowered into the grave so that the dead could eat. On the occasion of festivals, the Romans had elaborate gatherings near the burial sites of their dead family members. So literally, they had these pipes coming out of the grave so they could feed their deceased family members like wine and bread and like really good food that they were eating, thinking that like they were eating it in the afterlife. And like there's still pictures of like these pipes coming out of graves to this day, which I find pretty like eerie, but also like that was just totally normal back then. Anyways guys, that's all the stuff I'm gonna be talking about today. Like I said, if you want me to continue this series, give this video a thumbs up and let me know. And don't forget to head over to Jessie's bookshelf after this. Just go subscribe and comment on my very first video, and that's how you're entered to win this backdrop. But I hope you guys have an awesome rest of your day, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!